Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Glad to have you here. Today we have army tutorial. So we're going to make two armies here for Bretonnia, who I've been having some fun with, and whose release date was just confirmed by CA. So very exciting, really excited for them to come out. So the first one I'm going to make here is against the Greenskins. And so considering the Greenskins, we definitely want a strong main hero squad. So we're going to put Leonie Kerr up on Becky. We're going to take off Foe Seeker because they're not going to be outrunning us anytime soon. We're going to put on this Sword of Couronne. We're going to give him two buddies here. We're going to give them Royal Pegasi. And I'm going to... Deadly Onslaught is an amazing ability. They're really powerful, really strong. I just never remember to use it. So I take it off because for me, I'm just not quick enough. So if you feel like you can, I definitely recommend having Deadly Onslaught on, but it's 150 gold. So between cutting these two abilities off, that's an extra spearman for my army, and that is going to be much better for me personally. The next thing I'm going to bring here is this damsel, and we're gonna take everything possible off this damsel. We really only want Curse of the Midnight Wind. The rest of this stuff is not super useful, especially against the Greenskins. If I would bring another one, I'd probably bring the Comet, but you can see that boosts her price up by 228. Again, almost the price of a spearman. So, just something to consider. I'm just going to be overcasting Curse of the Midnight Wind. And so that makes it 52 seconds of huge debuff. So, it definitely helps the main line function. You can throw a good one to bring, maybe the Scroll of Shielding, Scroll of Power, but we'll talk about those later if we end up having room. So there will be an Ragnarok Spider on the field, so we're going to bring some solid ranged forces here. I think four is good. And we're also going to need a small bit of cavalry, but not too much, so we're going to bring Knights of the Realm to try and rear charge in the infantry. So we kind of have our ranged corps here, our hero corps, and our cavalry for the flanking, and now we just have to make our infantry corps. I can't see them bringing more than 3 Blackworks, so I'm going to bring 3 of these guys. I'm going to bring a Trebuchet to target Blackworks as well, and the rest I think I'm just going to... Yeah, I'm going to bring all these guys. Fits perfectly in here, and we have 20 gold. All these cost too much. I would love to bring this Scroll of Power, because then you can cast Curse of the Midnight Wind on both sides. Replenishes hit points is useful. Damage resistance is useful. Disabled if leadership is higher than 50%. So we can totally take that off, I think. Because we really don't plan on Leonie Kerr dying in a Greenskin matchup. If we use him correctly, that won't be a problem, because we can always get him up in the air and then wait for him to regen using the Ladies Champion. So I think we're comfortable taking that off. And we can take this money and we can put it on a Scroll of Power here for our lady. And so that means we'll be able to cast Curse of the Midnight Wind, and then the instant its 52 seconds is up, we click the Scroll of Power, and it will cut the recharge time down, and then we can cast it on the other side of the battle. And that helps because we only have one ability here, so when it's on cooldown, she'll basically be useless. So it'll be good to have that scroll in there to cast that twice. And so here we go. We have a long, not useful, but long main line. We have a hero squad up in the air, very powerful. Very useful for sniping out orc leaders, for sniping out Ragnarok spiders. So that's what these guys will be here for. We have peasant bowmen who will be attacking savage orcs and spiders, but primarily savage orcs, I think, because we really need to do damage to them before they get into our melee line. We have 3 men-at-arms with polearms for cavalry, and for spiders or black orcs. And so these guys will kind of deploy behind the line. We have 2 Knights of the Realm. We do not want these guys going up against Orc Boar Boy Biggins. At all costs, avoid that. You might have to use your men-at-arms with polearms for that, depending on the situation. But these will only be useful against infantry, so just keep that in mind. And we'll, of course, a field trebuchet, just so we can stay put and remain defensive. That's what that's good for. It does have amazing range, and it is a pretty decent way of getting rid of black orcs. So I just like to bring these guys for utility. Do be careful. Don't bring more than 1, I think. 1 is ideal. Except when you're facing the dwarves, if you watch my Bretonnia dwarf video. Yeah, so that's kind of this army here. In the next one, we're going to be hopping in and designing an army for Bretonnia to counter the vampires. A very tough fight. Okay, here we are, Bretonnia versus the vampires. Again, we are going to be bringing Leonliakur. I really don't think he's one of the few legendary lords that I always bring as Bretonnia. The lord just does not cut it. And the regeneration is just very, very powerful. And so for versus the vampires, we're going to go for a slightly different army. If the vampires are smart, they're going to bring a hero on either on the ground like Vlad or on a Hellsteed. And so really I just don't think we're going to have an easy time catching and killing that lord in the air or wherever they are. So we're going to not kind of get into that fight. We are going to have all our heroes on the ground, where our leadership bonuses and encourage auras can prevent our main line from being routed by terror and other such effects. So we're going to have Leonliakur on here on his Barded Warhorse. You can see 110 armor, definitely better than the 80 armor on the Griffin. So yeah, we're going to have him on here. We're going to get rid of Foeseeker. We are going to keep Beloved Son of Bretonnia, because that if he does die, the immunity to psychology is going to be very, very important for keeping our line held together. We are going to put the sword on him, though, because that is a very handy debuff. We're going to be bringing 2 paladins, though I think we're just going to be bringing them on foot. So they're flat 500 cost. Not too bad. We're going to be bringing this lady as well. And again, we are going to be taking all the stuff off, because we don't need it. And we are going to be giving her the Scroll of Power yet again. So for this army, I was thinking a core of these Grail Knights would be very important. Magical attacks, huge charge bonus, immunity to psychology, all amazing things when fighting the vampire counts. So that's why we went cheap on our heroes, so we could afford a heavy-hitting, flanking cavalry force. As well, we're not going to be bringing a field trebuchet against the vampires, because I just don't think it is worth it. They have too much spawning capability for that to pay off, so we're not going to be bringing that. And we've given up the air, so no Pegasus Knights either. We don't want too large of a core of archers because of the Raised Dead, but we will be bringing 3, just because these peasant bowmen are amazing, and we want to create a threat, or at least some sort of threat, to any sort of corpse carts or claws of Nagash. It's important to have at least a solid core of 3 peasant bowmen. Okay, so then I think we'll bring some men-at-arms with polearms, maybe 3. And we'll bring a big old just distraction main line here of troops. I do want to... We have some extra money here, and I think 6 is enough, so we are going to bring this Knights of the Realm here. What can we do? Can we drop anything to afford another hero, or another unit, while keeping this 3rd cavalry? I guess we could drop this scroll of power here, and that would boost us up to 300. And so we could get another one of these guys. Yeah. Works out pretty well. Well, what if I do kind of want the scroll of power. No, there we have some extra money. Huh. I guess that just does kind of fit money-wise. We can grab this guy and grab this guy, and we'll pop up to 20. So we can upgrade 1 unit and be at 1 gold. So here you have a large main line of spearmen at arms. And I think with this cheap of main line, you'll definitely be out. You'll have a longer line than the vampire counts, presumably, if they spend their money on like a Claw of Nagash or on some fancy heroes. So the goal there would be to have some spearmen free to cover your Grail Knights while they try and engage the vampire infantry. So you do not want Grail Knights going up against Blood Knights because they will lose flat out. Blood Knights have the anti-large bonus. These guys are only good against infantry. Yeah, so you'll have a longer line. You can use some of these spearmen to kind of zone out any Blood Knights that are on the field. Yeah, men-at-arms with polearms. These will be useful for throwing in against any like large targets like Vargulfs or Terrorgeists, or enemy heroes that land nearby. Also useful for taking up Blood Knights if you can get them in, but do avoid getting them charged when they're not braced. You can see, of course, charge defense against all only negates the enemy's charge bonus if you are standing and bracing. And the idea here, I think, with this extra Knight of the Realm, is if you have 2 Grail Knights, 1 out on each flank, you can hide these Knights of the Realm pretty convincingly somewhere else. And if they look at this army, they're not gonna. They might, you know, if they're not a player that plays Bretonnia a lot, they might miss the fact that there's something missing. And so with 2 Grail Knights out on the flank, that's a huge cost and like eye attention-seeking stuff. So you can use one of your spearmen to kind of cover your Grail Knights and engage Blood Knights or anything, and then use these Knights of the Realm to pop out and ambush them from behind. Or, of course, ambushing infantry is ideal as well. So you can kind of use this Knights of the Realm however you want. If you don't like that kind of ambush strategy, you can have it in the back lines ready to charge and recharge zombies that are raised in your peasant bowmen. That is also a great use of these guys. Just keep them back and negate that ability and keep them around to basically just protect your archers. And so that won't be a bad use of these guys either. And yeah, you definitely... The only way your infantry is going to survive here is if you're using Curse of the Midnight Wind, and your heroes with their Encourage auras. Even the Damsel has it. You want to keep all these influence auras on everybody so that you avoid losing any units too quickly to terror or other such morale reducing abilities, because they can bring Lore of Death, which can instantly rout a lot of your poor leadership troops if you're not super careful. So anyways, yeah, there you have my Bretonnia versus Greenskins and Vampire Count build. I hope you guys are enjoying kind of seeing how I put together an army, what abilities I take off, what abilities I keep on. And if there's any matchups you guys like want me to build some armies for, you can totally leave a comment in the comment section, and I hope to hear from you guys. Anyways, thanks for watching, and that's that.